Hey guys, this is from Kevor24's seasonals run, round 4, with the TF Fizz against Ophelia Zoe, as you can see here. And so, in this matchup, um, they don't have that much elusive removal, so you don't really need to have as explosive turns. You just getting some elusive damage in now and then as you build up your very cheap Burblefish in a way that they can't answer is good, but also it will pretty much play exactly the way this deck was built to do, because you'll just play 3 or 4 Burblefish when they have like 2 mana and swing in for probably 6 damage when they remove 1 Burblefish or something like that. So in this position, you can see that his hand is not the most fantastic in the short term. It will eventually do its thing later on, but right now he doesn't really have a great turn 3 play. So he actually does play the iterative improvement on the ballistic bot now. The thing is, you might want to save iterative improvement for a Burblefish, but the main point of using it on Burblefish is that you get to save mana. Right now, he has no way to spend his mana, so there's not really much point in saving it like that. This also gives him 2 face damage, which is a nice bonus. As you can see here, if you were to try to save everything for when Burblefish costs 0, then he basically is playing with 3 less cards in hand until then. And also, Poro Cannon doesn't have the most useful discards. Essentially, even if you discard Death Ray, which is the worst card in the hand, you're still going -1. So, here our opponent passes. Now, we do have the option of playing basically Zap or passing as well, but the thing is that our Ignition doesn't really cost anything. So if you still want to pass after we play Ignition, we're happy to pass. There's no reason to really commit our Zap since we want to keep open the option of actually passing. Now you'll see that our opponent who played Aphelios last round actually picked Calibrum, which is actually a pretty poor decision. He should have just picked Crescendum, and then if he wanted the Calibrum, he could phase into it now after playing Crescendum and just play it next round. So now he's spent his Calibrum, so we're pretty happy to play the Zap. And now you'll see that our Burblefish are currently at 4 mana. And next round, with our top decks, we'll also have Ignition. So we have Ignition, Poro Cannon, and Mystic Shot. So our Burblefish are pretty much already at 1 mana. If we top deck a cheap spell, it's likely we can get it to 0 very easily. Now, you could say that Death Ray is an option, but it's just not a good option. You only ever really want to play it as like for like cards like Burblefish, or to discard it, or to use it in a time when you're playing a lot of pick cards and you just are okay with reshuffling these cards that are pretty terrible shuffles in terms of costing you multiple draws, because you're drawing so many cards and they're going to be fleety anyways, so you have to play them. Now in this position, you see that our Burblefish are now 3 mana, so 2 Mystic Shots plus Poro Cannon puts them to 0 mana, and we can just double Mystic Shot the Severum. So I mean, sorry, the Aphelios, and the reason you pick Aphelios is for 2 very straightforward reasons. Reason number 1 is that, well, first of all, Aphelios is a long-term threat. He's going to generate a ton of value and tempo. And second, because even if we commit to something like face and look at how much face damage we have right now, the thing is that Aphelios is going to be able to help him heal a lot with Severum and Infernum and Ignitions on this Ballistic Bot. That's just going to heal for way more than this 4 damage, Nexus damage we're giving up. So using the Mystic Shots on the Aphelios is a lot better than using it on the Nexus. Additionally, he hasn't played the second card yet, so it's actually going to be kind of difficult for him to properly generate the second moon weapon here, unless he plays a burst or fast spell, which, while they do have access to, it's not, they don't have, it's probably not going to be their favorite option going into the rest of the round here, if they do have it, which they don't. So here it's possible they play like a 1-drop or something. Okay, so they play Ignition to get the 2 mana back. Overall, not threatening. So here we can play Poro Cannon on the Death Ray, which we do, and get our Burble Fish to 0 mana, and this threatens a ton of elusive damage while they don't have that much mana to support it. So we do save the Poros. Now, you'll see a very interesting decision here by our opponent. So here, you might ask if we should trade Ballistic Bots here. It's a viable option, but right now, we are putting on a wave of aggression that is not that obvious how they're going to prevent as of yet, so we're not in a rush to trade off the Ballistic Bots. The ignitions themselves aren't all that threatening to us. It's pretty much just tempo triggers, and we should assume that they can trigger either way. So you shouldn't really feel the need to make this trade. If they have something like Mystic Shot to kill our Ballistic Buff and prevent the trade, you're okay. They're gonna do it anyway if that's what they want to do. So it's perfectly valid to not. In fact, it's a good decision to not attack with it here. Now here, our opponent makes a really strange play. He plays Mystic Shot on the Fizz, and so what this tells us two things. A, because he knows we have 1 mana spells. So A, they have a second Mystic Shot. They choose to kill our Fizz over 2 elusive units. I don't know why they played this Mystic Shot on the Fizz, because if you just kill the Burble Fish, then you should, well, you kill the Burble Fish at the same amount of damage. You don't give them the option to deny your Mystic Shot for free. I mean, I don't know what this is. So, and the strangest part is that they play the second Mystic Shot on the Burble Fish. If you're not gonna commit the second Mystic Shot to the Fizz, why would you commit the first one to the Fizz? It makes no sense. The only thing that the first one does is prevent the second one from saving Fizz. So you're either scared of Fizz enough to use 2 Mystic Shots on it, or you're just trying to prevent face damage and you don't use either Mystic Shot on it. So this is a very strange play to me. He just wasted a Mystic Shot for no reason. And here he actually ended up having Death Ray MK1 basically for one of the Burble Fish, but I mean, I don't understand that. I think that's just a terrible play. Maybe I'm missing something, but anyway, so in this position, Kevor actually makes a small mistake. And the reason I say small is because it doesn't really change things per se, but here he I guess didn't know that you can't shadow block with burst spells, because essentially you don't actually declare blocker until you press OK. So here when they actually I just want to mention one thing here. In this position, when he plays the pick a card, I don't actually support this pick a card option, because I feel like you should just play your elusives and probably even set up Chum the Waters on their lifesteal unit maybe, or well, if you go for the pick a card, which I actually am okay with pick a card, that means you're committing to not open attack, which does make sense as to why you're not going to play the Burble Fish. I think that's perfectly fine. You play pick a card and then you develop next round and then you attack. But this only really makes sense if you don't open attack. So, but he does basically open attack, which is why I don't actually support this decision. So as you can see here, if we played the Burble Fish first and committed to an open attack kind of strategy, when they played this, we would have been able to play Chum the Waters on it over pick a card, and then we would just have a really good open attack, play pick a card, and then go from there if they survive. But here we committed to more of an open attack strategy. Well, I should say we committed to more of a developing strategy, but here he's actually open attack. So in this position, when you play the pick a card like that, you want to spend your mana first, because they don't, even if they have their mana, their answers to elusives are pretty much all fast speed. So probably play the I don't know, Get Excited or the Vulnerable Boy. So I think we just open Chum the Waters on the elusive. Even if they have Mystic Shot, which actually they have Death Ray MK2 most likely, we can still pull it with the Ballistic Bot and take away an elusive blocker. So I'm not the biggest fan here. You could also save the Get Excited by reshuffling it, and then go from there. Maybe I think he's considering playing both Get Excited and pick a card this round, but I mean in this position, it's but yeah, playing the shakedown was a mistake last round.
喂，佢不同啊。
Mm. So there's the Death Ray MK2, which could have went on the Shark Tooth, but we would have been able to pull it with the Ballistic Bot still, and also it wouldn't have went on the Elusive unit. And well, at this point, there's not really that many decisions to be made right now. Obviously, aside from what you do with these two spells. So he opens Ignition because between two Ignitions and the Get Excited, you can force him to pseudo force him to open attack next round because they might be able to play Star Shaping. But here, you do want to play the Pivot card this round. You don't want to let this get discarded. And the other, so you basically decide if you want to play the Get Excited or if you want to reshuffle it. I'm personally a fan of reshuffling. So you're never going to play both Chum the Waters. So using the discard on the Chum the Waters makes a lot of sense. And let's see you keep just reshuffle Get Excited. So here you're definitely looking to rummage the Ignitions because they have basically staved off the immediate level of aggression, but with their lifesteal unit connecting twice, more or less, and also Star Shaping, and also the lifesteal unit. While you can say that it's only going to connect once, you would have to give up Get Excited for it, so it works out the same way. I was a fan of playing the Elusive Poro because just to block the 3/1 with over playing the Ignition there. You can always play Ignition after. It also gives the Ballistic Bot the 1 extra attack for all intents and purposes. And then probably using Get Excited on the Sump Dredger to save the Ballistic Bot here rather than taking this trade. Since at this point, saving Get Excited for face isn't all that useful. So in this position, you're most likely looking to play the Iterative Improvement and then rummaging away Get Excited and the Ignition. So as you can see here, that's pretty much what happens. Again, I think we should have just played the Daring Pearl so that they can't really attack with the 3/1. It saves us. It allows for a lot more freedom during the attack. So here, this is good because you might not want to red card. And that's I think here you don't red card just so you can get 4 overwhelm damage from the long tooth. But yeah, blue card makes a lot of sense for that purpose, and then you want to play a Daring Pearl just to block the Great Beyond. There's no point attacking with anything else because you're basically giving up your Fizz for one Nexus damage. You might be looking to play options like Iterative Improvement on the Great Beyond, but that is a lot of mana. This is a deck that focuses on playing a lot of cards, so you're definitely looking to play options like Zap Sprayfin and then working from there. Second Star Shaping is not great news for Kevor. Kevor. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but he discards the stress testing for the extra draw and then plays Zap Sprayfin because, well, mostly to block the Destroyer. At this point, you're mainly looking for the one of, or for a TF or for the one of Mind Meld in the deck because that's going to be what's going to win you the game. So here he goes for these blocks and Get Excited on the on the Sum Dredger, which is fine because with Rummage and Pick a Card, you don't have the best discards for your Zonite Urchin as well. Because you're basically getting rid of cards that draw cards anyway, and you only have so many reshuffles. So here, he gets rid of the Daring Pearl because he might have options like Mind Meld plus Rally, which the problem right now with that option is that they can play something like Static Shock and kill the pearls, so you don't really want to take that risk. So you just want to develop as many elusive units as possible to maximize the probability of getting them from Mind Meld, or of them getting the Mind Meld buffs, rather than going for something like Rally, simply because you don't have that many attackers. Okay, sorry, Static Shock wasn't accurate, but they could play something like 2 Mystic Shots, and they would survive, and then the Destroyer would win the game next round. So here, as you can see, the Mind Meld did connect, and they only have 2 elusive blockers, so this is going to be lethal. However, overall, he played very well, but I think the biggest decision here was these couple of rounds with when the Fangs came on the board. I think he could have improved this position quite a bit between, for example, saving the Shakedown and 1 mana, which is a perfectly fair mistake. Most people make that mistake at least once. I've made it myself as well with Burst Shadow blocking, and then here I do prefer. I prefer the Chum the Waters on the elusive unit just to threaten a lot more damage from the attack token, and then playing from there. I think that those are the main things I want to point out. Aside from that, I don't have anything else. I'm gonna basically go on break until after the expansion comes out. So thanks for watching, and see you guys in a week.